Cashew chicken, it's one of those Chinese American favorites. It dates back to the 1950s and it is quickly becoming one of my favorite dishes to eat for dinner because it's just so simple to make, so quick, and to be honest, it's really cheap as well. So save yourself the 30 bucks and take away and make this one instead. We've got 2 chicken breasts. What we're going to do is we're going to velvet the chicken. So it's super simple. What we're going to do is we're going to take 2 chicken breasts and we are going to cut them relatively thin. Makes the cooking process much quicker. And then you're going to combine them with some oil and some corn flour. Clean that up quickly. Wash our hands because we've been touching chicken. So really simple, you want 2 tablespoons of good old fashioned corn flour, and then you want equal parts oil. Any oil you've got, we've got canola oil here. It doesn't really make a difference. Give it a quick mix, and then we're going to set this aside for about 10 minutes while we prepare the other ingredients. So with this recipe, it's going to come together really quickly. So you're going to want to prepare everything in advance. We've got a large capsicum or bell pepper, as the Americans would say. We've got a bunch of spring onions, and we've got half a brown onion. Pretty simple. With the capsicum, just going to kind of cut the sides off. And then just slice it into strips. Again, onion, completely optional. We're just going to cut it into some kind of wedges, pretty much. You can cut into finer chunks if you want. And then just a couple of spring onions. I'm not going to use them all. Make sure you cut off the ends. And then into some bigger chunks. So we've got 4 cloves of garlic. So all we're going to do, you can use more or less. I love garlic, so I'm going to use 4. If you're not a huge fan of garlic, use a bit less. If you are a massive fan, use more. I am on the bandwagon of the more the merrier. And rough chop. That's it. Next up, let's make our sauce and then we'll get cooking. So for the sauce, 4 tablespoons of hoisin sauce. Next up, we've got 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. If you've got dark brown, light brown, any color brown is perfectly fine. A half teaspoon of white pepper, teaspoon of MSG. MSG gets a bad rap. It's optional, you don't have to add it. It will make it taste better. There's a reason that your Chinese takeaway tastes nicer. We've got 1.5 tablespoons of dark sesame oil. So again, if you've only got normal sesame oil, just use it. This will just give it a bit of a nuttier taste. Got 3 tablespoons of light soy sauce. You can't find this at your Coles or Woolies or your local store. Check your Asian grocers, most of them have it. But I think the big guys are generally pretty good at having them available these days. 2 tablespoons of dark soy, same thing. If you cannot find light and dark soy, you can just use normal soy sauce. Just be cautious of the salt levels. 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. Give it a quick stir. We've got the chicken here. All we're going to do is just flash fry it. Doesn't need to be cooked all the way through. Doesn't matter if it is. It is going to be cooked again. So we're just going to chuck it in for a minute or two, and then shouldn't do it, but I'm just going to chuck it back in this bowl because it's going to be reheated. So bacteria rise perfectly fine. So we're going to be using these Singapore style noodles. You can use fresh ones. We're using just long life ones off the shelf. You can use rice if you want, you can use whatever you want. But about this time is when you want to start preparing these. So if you're using these, you just chuck them in some boiling water for a couple of minutes. So you want to get the kettle on at this point for that. See there, we're starting to get some a bit of colour to it. It's not all the way cooked, so that's fine. You can pull that one out, chuck it back in the bowl, and then we are going to get going with our other stuff. Just turn it down a little bit so it's not as hot. Chuck a little bit more oil in. And then we're gonna go with our capsicums and as well as our onion. Leave the garlic and the spring onions because they will cook much quicker and they'll burn. And make sure you break up your onions. You don't want giant chunks. So while they're softening up, let's get the last 2 things of our cook that we need to get ready. So I've just got some water in here. It's about half a tablespoon. And all we're going to do is we're going to mix in about a half a tablespoon of corn flour. We're going to use that to thicken everything up once we add the sauce. So you can use this to essentially thicken any sauce that you're using. What you always want to make sure you do is mix the corn flour with cold water. Don't add it to your hot stuff. If you try and add the corn flour directly to a hot sauce, it's just going to clump up and wreck your sauce completely. So that's why we do it there, and then we'll add that in once we add the sauce. They're softening up nicely. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go in with the garlic. We'll just cook that for a minute or 2 until it's aromatic. And we're almost done. All right, let's do it. So if you don't already, you want to make sure that you've got either your rice ready to go or you chuck on your noodles about now. So garlic's been sizzling away for a little bit now. You've got the capsicum or bell peppers in there along with your onion. You could go with some broccoli or whatever other stir-fry ingredient you want to put in. This is my preference. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go in with about a cup of chicken stock. It's a chicken dish, but if you're feeling inclined, you can go with vegetable stock or beef stock, whatever you've got. We've got our sauce that we made earlier. So next up, we're going to add that. We're going to cook it for a couple of minutes. Then we're going to go in with our chicken, our spring onions, and then finish off the dish with our corn flour slurry. our onions, our spring onions. Just stir that in. You kind of see how that's kind of thickened up. There we have it, cashew chicken at home. If you like this one and you want to see more, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and let us know below what you'd like us to cook next. Ooh.